This is the Pam Sowder Podcast. With over 2 decades of field and corporate experience and voted one of the most influential women in direct selling, Pam helps mesh the daily needs of distributors to everyday life challenges. It's time to get over yourself, fire up your productivity, work less, and live more. Learn the self-limiting hashtag F-bombs holding you back, fear, frustration, and failures, and turn those F-bombs into friendships, fun, and freedom. Ready? Let's get this party started.
Okay, we've got an Ask Pam question, and the first one is, when you were taught not to dream as a child, how do you learn to do that now? This is a great question. You know, I remember with my mom and dad, a lot of times they didn't ask me what my dreams were because they'd already lost theirs, and they were trying to protect me, and I assumed that probably your parents were doing that as well. So how do you now as an adult want to overcome that and start dreaming, and also, most importantly, if you have children, to teach them how to dream as well? One of the first things that I would suggest that you do is get in a very quiet place, take a journal with you, a notebook, whatever you have, and start asking yourself, what do you want? And get really real with yourselves. Just start writing it down and saying, what do I want? What do I want? What do I want? And then also, why do you want it? Why do you want that particular thing in your life? And most of the time, the answers to all those questions is we just want to be happy. We just want the fun in our life and less stress. And I'm just going to give you a particular dream. One of my dreams was always to live on the beach, on the water. That seemed totally ridiculous considering where I came from, which was the Blue Ridge Mountains. And so that would have been quite a distance for us. So what I did is I started looking through magazines, and I picked out a picture of a home and the beautiful back of that home on the water, and I put it on my dream board. And I just started looking at it, and I started seeing myself there, seeing my family there, and all the fun that we would have. I could actually engage all my senses by not only sight, but smell and feel. And it was just so exciting for me. And so then what do? Well, I've got the dream. I've got it on my dream board. I have that home. I went to work. I went to work inspired by those feelings, by that picture. And so I suggest that you do this. Just start. And that dream can be really small. The very first really small dream that I had was I wanted to hire somebody to come and clean the toilets in my house. I mean, that may sound funny to you, but that's what I wanted. Somebody that would come in and actually clean the house. And that was the first thing that I worked for. And we hired a really great gal that just came in once a week and cleaned everything up, which freed me up to do more work and to be more engaged with the family. So start small. Know that you're worth it. Know that your family's worth it. And have fun with it. And don't beat yourself up if that dream doesn't come to pass in the time that you've allotted it. Allow it to grow within you, and then I can assure you that it will come on the outside as well. Okay. And for our second question, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received that made the biggest impact on your life? Wow, there's a couple that I can think of. You know, one time I was just having such a hard time believing in myself. My team seemed like they weren't as interested as I wanted them to be in building, and I was just at a very low point in my life. And at the time, Adam, our son, was 12 years old, and I remember putting him in bed, and I sat there beside of him and just told him that, gosh, you know, I just feel like giving up. And to tell your 12-year-old this, and he's listening, because that's Adam. Adam's a great listener. And turned around and looked me dead in the eye, and he goes, Mom, you're just going to have to try harder. And I'm telling you, that went to the core of my being. And for some reason, him saying it, the way he said it, got me up and out of that room. I went right back downstairs, and I started making more phone calls. And getting into action is the best thing that I could tell you to do. We are all going to have low points in our life. We're going to have times when we feel like giving up. And those are the very times that you should really give it everything that you have. Go out and make that call, make a post, follow up, follow through. And then it's as though magic sets in and things start happening for you again. So great advice from a 12-year-old. And here's our third question. How do you overcome fear? Wow, this is huge. This is big for all of us. So back to my beginning in this industry, my story. I sat in fear for 6 solid months and just couldn't get out of it. I was fearful of my own shadow, it seemed. When it come to talking about business, and one of the biggest reasons for me was just asking people for help. It's really hard for me. It's something that I'm really working on now and thoroughly appreciating. So it could be different for all of us. Fear of what if I can't answer the question, fear of what will others think, fear of our own spouse, our best friends, of they will think, and will they ridicule us? And these are all self-limiting beliefs, and they come off as fear. And I read a great book, and I wish that I could remember the title, but I'll give it to you and how it empowered me. That fear would always be with us. It's not something that ever goes away. And if you're really growing and maturing into life and your business, fear is going to be there. It's going to be sitting right beside of you. It could be on your shoulder, on your back. And so what you do is you just talk to it and say, all right, fear, I know you're here. I know you're not going to go away, but I'm going to go over here and I'm going to go do this. You can come along with me or you can sit in the corner, whatever you want to do. But I'm going to go ahead and go do this. And that's what I do now with everything. Fear of putting together a podcast. And here we are where we've got a podcast going. And so what I do is there's that fear over there, but I'm understanding that he's there, he or she is there, and that I'm not going to die from it. That actually I'm going to feel better about myself once I start doing whatever fear sets in. This could be athletic. This could be fear of having a baby. This could be a fear of asking somebody to marry you. It goes all throughout life. But so what I suggest is you just talk to it. Realize it's going to be there. That means you're growing. You're getting out of your comfort zone. You're getting out of that box, and you're getting ready to do something pretty amazing. So embrace it, love it, and move on. Here's our fourth question. What would you say to me if I felt like I don't deserve this opportunity? That I feel like I was put on my team to be their cheerleader, but not an equal successor? All right, for one thing, if you're a cheerleader, then you're as equal as anyone else. This is coming from something within you that your team is just projecting back to you. You're probably getting on there and cheering everyone on, being that inspirer, that motivator, and not feeling like your own business is growing. So we've got to work on that deserving. And the way that I've worked on it in my life is just by doing. Getting up every day, working on my mind, reading from an inspirational book, at least 10 to 30 minutes, listening to the right things in the car, and then understanding what your why is. Why do you want this business? And why don't you think you deserve it? And really look at that. And these are just limiting beliefs that you've heard throughout your life, and you've just decided by writing this question, the answer is already there for you. You've already made a decision that this is no longer you. And just writing this question out shows us that. And you're ready to move forward and to move on. So I congratulate you on that. So recognize what you want, why you want it, and just get up and take action based off that. Still be that cheerleader. I always feel like I am. Be that inspirer. Know that that's an important part of leadership and growth, but also know that you're worth that leadership and growth. You're worth the income that you want for your family. You're worth the position that you want for yourself. So believe in yourself more. Know that you can do this, that it's possible for you, and that is by taking very small steps each and every day, posting and asking and commenting and then following up and following through and doing the things in the business that you absolutely love to do. And if you've got that cheerleading personality, capitalize on that because that's very moving and very giving to people. But again, go back to what do I want? Why do I want it? And go after it by gathering up those customers, sponsoring those distributors, and moving them through those steps to success. And I'll know that I'll see you at the top. Let's get real. Let's get raw on fear and limiting beliefs. Come on, let's face it. We all have these, every single one of us. And they're just excuses. They're reasons that we don't get started. We just want to sit there and do the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Until we step outside of that, we're not going to be able to achieve what we want and what we deserve. So when you think about, I wasn't taught to dream as a child, okay, you weren't taught to dream as a child. Decide no longer, I'm going to dream big. I'm going to dream bold. I'm going to teach my family how to dream. It's almost like getting mad about it, but also getting inspired. And what's the best advice you've ever had for making the biggest impact? Well, you've had it. You just had it from this. So decide to take that advice and to run with it. And how do you overcome fear? By doing. You don't need to ask that question anymore. When it comes up, make a move. Make a move. What do you say to me if I don't deserve this opportunity? You deserve it. Understand that. That comes from within. No one can honestly tell you that. That is a feeling within you, and you, by asking that question, already know you deserve it. You deserve it. Your family deserves it. Everyone in your business deserves it. It Works deserves it. Let's go out. Let's conquer all of this by doing and being exactly who we were born to be. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Pam Sowder Podcast on fear and limiting beliefs. Be sure to check out my website at pamsowder.com. There you can get inspired, listen to more podcasts, read and submit Ask Pam questions that could be featured on an upcoming podcast episode. Be sure to follow me on Facebook and Instagram. And as always, much love and appreciation.